Roll call.
Grandquist.
Here.
Arns.
Here.
Webb.
Here.
McCarthy.
Here.
Beckman. Here. Jensen.
Here.
Langy.
Here.
Hildebrand.
Here.
Mayor.
So, new to the city council meetings, first scheduled meeting of each month, we'll have a public comment section. And Kylie's going to kind of give us a little introduction to that.
Okay, so at this time, we will open the floor to public comment periods. So as recently passed, each speaker is going to be limited to 5 minutes. But please be aware that in accordance with the Nebraska Open Meetings Act, neither the council nor the staff will provide a response or engage in discussion during this public comment period.
First.
Good evening. My name is David Jansma. You're welcome. Hello, council and mayor. I'm a citizen of Ward 2, and I've had an issue that I presented 2 years ago with a street issue. After the first year, I was called aside by a couple people after the meeting, and they said I slipped through the cracks, which didn't really make me very happy. We have passed the 2-year anniversary, and nothing's been done. There was one repair of a storm sewer down the street, and I really don't think they did a very quality job. So I'm a little frustrated. I just paid my property taxes, pay them all the time. I pay all my sales tax. I've lived up there for 40 years. And we sort of get ignored. And I've had enough. I want it repaired. I brought pictures that I'm going to give to the appropriate person, and he can go through them all. First one being the repair of the storm sewer. I think they missed a lot when they did that. It probably should have been handled. There's the rest of it.
Dave, can you tell us the location of that?
Well, if you go up to Western Heights, I don't think there's a lot that doesn't need repair. I happen to live at the corner of Dover and Clearfield, but between 25th Street and Valley High is the big problem. Curbs destroyed, curbs been hit, concrete breaking up. We have bicyclists, skaters, and everything else. And if they go through with this plan, 25th Street, they're all going to be coming down Dover and right in there. It's just time. I don't care what excuses they've had in the past to get ignored for 2 years when I did exactly what I was supposed to do. I'm supposed to submit pictures and fill it out. There's the proof of the receipts I got with the dates they were promised. Nothing's done. Fix it. End of subject. Any comment? Anybody want to say anything? Nope. Are we going to do it? All right, fine.
Steve, do you have enough clarification as to the location of that area?
Oh, I know, I could drive there, but I couldn't necessarily give you the address, but I yes.
But the photos are adequate?
Yes, they show the description of the streets in that area, yes.
I appreciate bringing it to our attention again.
The key to your sentence was the word again. I shouldn't have to do it again. I've done it twice. This is the third time. You wonder why you get frustrated. We see other areas getting repaired that aren't as damaged as this street. This street is used quite heavily. Just handle it.
Steve, can you give him a call, kind of let him know roughly when that could be on his schedule?
Yeah, I mean, in general, council, we have in the range of about north of $80 million of streets in the community that look like this, that need repaired. We don't have that kind of funding to go out and address every one that comes to our attention. We work them, Streets Department works them. We've done, I think we put out about in the last couple of years, $3 million worth of contracts. This is an area that was part of the community survey that was done here back in 2023. I don't know where it landed in terms of the improvements that we prioritized as a function of that. I can tell you that, with the bids coming in on the police station, we are certainly already spinning our wheels in the engineering room to potentially look at accelerating about $6 million worth of street repairs. So that's big picture. That's the conversation.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Seeing none, we're going to go ahead and move to the consent agenda, where I'll ask for a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Please vote.
Voting in the affirmative, Arns, McCarthy, Granquist, Jensen, Webb, Hildebrand, Beckman, abstaining, Langy. Motion carries.
Next, I look for approval of the full agenda.
Your Honor, as a property owner and business owner downtown, I'll be abstaining.
I will also be abstaining as a property and business owner downtown.
But so move the full consent agenda, or the full agenda.
Second.
And please vote.
Voting in the affirmative, Arns, Granquist, Jensen, Langy, Hildebrand, Beckman, abstaining, McCarthy, Webb. Motion carries.
That'll take us into the public hearings. Item number 25 tonight, we do have a public hearing to consider a Class D liquor license application for Wisner West, Inc., doing business as Prime Stop South at 1201 Prime Stop Way, and the manager application of Holly Cunningham.
Okay. So on August 4th, 2025, I received the Class D liquor license application for Wisner West, Inc., doing business as Prime Stop South, 1201 Prime Stop Way, and the manager application of Holly Cunningham. This newly constructed establishment, located on the southeast side of town, is applying for a liquor license, which requires a public hearing. A background check was completed by the Norfolk Police Division and is included in the agenda packet for review. Following the public hearing, the next item on the agenda is the corresponding resolution, which will serve as the City Council's official recommendation to the Nebraska Liquor Control Commission regarding the issuance of the liquor license. And I believe the applicant is present this evening and can answer any questions you may have.
Anybody have any questions for the applicant? Seeing none, I'm going to close that hearing, and I'll look for a motion to adopt the approval of Resolution 2025-47.
Your Honor, I would move for adoption of resolution number 2025-47.
Second.
Kylie?
All right, so this is just the corresponding resolution serving as your official recommendation to the Nebraska Liquor Control Commission approving the recommendation.
Any discussion? If none, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, Resolution 2025-47 is adopted.
Next item is a public hearing. Public hearing to consider amendments to sections 6-40, 6-71, 6-109, 6-111, and 6-143 of the official city code to make all general building electrical, mechanical, gas, and plumbing contractor registrations valid for 1 year, that period expiring on August 31st of each year. Oh, December 31st, what did I say?
August.
Oh, whatever.
All right, I can take it from here. Thank you. So this ordinance proposed some adjustments specifically to contractor registration procedure. Previously, general contractors, the builders, were registered 3 years at a time with $150 for 3 years, $100 if registered in the second, and $50 if registered in that third year. The plumbing and mechanical contractors have always been an annual registration expiring December 31. The staggered years made sense with all of these. Electricians registered for 2 years, with $100 for 2 years and $50 if registered in the second. When this was all by paper, it made much more sense to have this staggered like that. Otherwise, we're sending out about 500 to 700 contractor registrations each year. Now that we have the new online permitting system, we'll also have contractor registration through that, and we thought this would be a good time to switch this over to an annual registration. It'll not cost contractors any more to have this done annually. It's actually better for those contractors who may come to Norfolk for like 1 or 2 jobs only, and maybe they catch the first year of the 3-year term as a builder. Now they're paying $150 instead of the $50. Contractors' insurance currently expires annually too, so this helps simplifies the process to make them all similar. We are requesting the permitting software company write the program to send out emails to those registered with a reminder email at the beginning of December, including a link in which they can click to get taken care of right away. The same request is being made for when their insurance expires, to send out an email so they can do that. That came out of a subcommittee that was requested, which makes sense. Our goal is to have the contractor registration platform ready for use before this December for contractors. Actually, all contractors are expiring this year except for electricians. They just renewed this year, so they have 1 more year. And so it's just that 1 year that it'll be different. Otherwise, everybody will kick in 26 then to be expiring. Makes sense? Any questions?
So the people who currently have like the 3-year ones that are expiring, are there going to be any kind of notices sent out or any kind of public newspaper ads or something to let them know that this is now going to be the online type of thing?
So since we were going to have to send out the 500 registrations anyway, instead of 3 pages of registration for everybody, I figured what I would do, similar to what I did when the permitting software first came on in May, I would get all of the registered contractors, print them out, make a 1-page letter saying, here's what's going to happen, here's where you can go. And we are working with the system to have all current registered contractors being pulled in, so they don't have to start completely over then. So we're trying to make it as simple as possible, yeah.
I think that sounds like it's going to be pretty smooth when you get it going. Yeah.
I hope so.
Any other discussions? Any public comment on that? Seeing none, we'll ask for the planning commission report.
The Norfolk Planning Commission held a public hearing on August 19th, 2025, to consider amendments to Section 6-40, 6-71, 6-109, 6-111, and 6-143 of the official city code to make all general building, electrical, mechanical, gas, and plumbing contractor registrations valid for a 1-year period expiring on December 31st of every year. The Planning Commission recommends approval of the amendment with an 8-0 vote.
I'm going to go ahead and close that hearing, and then I will ask for a motion to approve, to consider the first reading of ordinance number 5936, amending sections 6-40, 6-71, 6-109, 6-111, and 6-143 of the official city code to make all general building, electrical, mechanical, gas, and plumbing contractor registrations valid for a one-year period expiring on December 31st of each year.
I'd move consideration of ordinance 5936 on first reading.
And any further discussion, Val? Probably not. Okay. I will pretty much ask for your vote. Or short title, please.
An ordinance of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska to amend Section 6-40, 6-71, 6-78, 6-79, 6-109, 6-111, and 6-143 of the official city code to make all general building, electrical, mechanical, gas, and plumbing contract registrations valid for a one-year period expiring on December 31 of each year, to provide when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and to provide for the publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
Please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance number 5936 carries on first reading.
Seeing no opposition, I'll make a motion that, that we suspend the rules and pass on second and third.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? If not, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance number 5936 carries on second and third.
That brings us to our regular agenda. Item 29, consideration of ordinance 5937, amending section 2-5 of the official city code to update building, electrical, mechanical, plumbing permit fees, and to reflect that contractor registration fees are due per calendar year.
I'd move consideration of ordinance 5937 on first reading.
Second.
Anything, Val?
This is the fee schedule for permittings and codes. We have not changed these since 2023, and so we try to do small increments at a time instead of waiting too long before we do any fee amendments. These were generally adjusted 5% or by a penny, when it would have been a fraction of a penny. And we also have what we kind of talked about with the text amendment. We had all of those things of like 150 if you're 3 years and all that. So that is cleaned up in this fee schedule also. And then trying to keep it as simple as possible. For some reason, we had for years that if it was an initial registration of like a plumber, mechanical, or electrical, it was $75. If a renewal was $50, so I just kind of made it all even and just made it all $50 just to keep it as simple as possible for everybody. If there's any questions on those.
Just kind of cleaning it up.
Trying to simplify.
Yeah, good. Any discussion on that? Not? Short title?
An ordinance of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska to amend Section 2-5 of the official city code to update building, electrical, mechanical, and plumbing permit fees to reflect that contractor registration fees are due per calendar year, to provide when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and to provide for the publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
Please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance number 5937 carries on first reading.
I'll make a motion, we suspend the rules and pass ordinance number 5937 on second and third.
Second.
Discussion? None? Please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance number 5937 carries on second and third.
Takes us to item number 30, consideration of ordinance number 5935 to create a business improvement district set its boundaries, establish a special assessment for businesses in the district, set the rates, explain how the funds will be collected and used, outline penalties for violations, and set the effective date of the ordinance. This ordinance passed on first reading at the August 18, 2025 City Council meeting. And Candace is ready to roll.
Wait, need a motion?
right.
Need a
I'll make
motion?
Table.
Yeah,
Need a
it
motion?
wasn't tabled, right?
Nope, it passed on first reading.
I'll make a motion for consideration of ordinance number 5935.
Second.
All right, so I'll just give a brief overview of what we discussed as it relates to the proposed business improvement district for the downtown. So steering committee came together, this was a couple years in the making now, and began evaluating what this could look like. And Val, if you wouldn't mind pulling up the bid boundary map on page 154 of the council packet, I would appreciate it. As she's pulling that up, the group met and talked about various ways that they could look at raising money to go towards the funding of a downtown manager. That is the primary goal of this business improvement district, is to hire a manager that can help them in their day-to-day activities as it relates to downtown. For those looking for a description, that job description is actually listed in the council packet on page 165. So that gives a nice breakdown of what the expectations are for this person. To be clear, this assessment is raised by putting on a cost per square foot for buildings within the proposed area, within the boundaries found here on the map. There are varying rates as it relates to the address of the structures. Those on Norfolk Avenue are assessed at a higher rate, and as you step away from Norfolk Avenue, that goes down. Currently, the Norfolk Avenue properties with addresses as Norfolk Avenue are being considered at 6.7 cents per square foot. 1st through 8th Street, the side streets, is 5.3 cents per square foot. And those properties located within this boundary map that are on Madison Avenue, Brosh Avenue, and the other streets are proposed to be assessed at 4 cents per square foot. So all of these funds that are being raised are coming from the property owners. So just to be clear, there aren't any city funds that are going to be included in this, in the proposed activities for this. I know I saw some conversations that were happening online. These aren't city funds, and this further would not be a city employee. What we are proposing, which will come in a subsequent document if this passes tonight, or even if we move it on to the second meeting in September, would be an agreement with the downtown district. And that would outline how the funds would transfer from the city of Norfolk, once we collect them, over to the Downtown Norfolk Association, which would provide oversight and management of that position. At our last meeting, we talked a little bit about nonprofits, and council asked for us to gather more information as it relates to the nonprofits that are proposed to be assessed as it relates to this business improvement district. So we did go back and look at that. Currently, we're looking at about $80,000 total that would be raised through this assessment structure. The city retains 2% of that for all of just the activity that we will need to do as city employees to send out the invoices for this, to gather the funds, and just all the oversight as it relates to our activities. The rest of that would be proposed to be turned over to the Downtown Norfolk Association. Of that $80,000, $10,530 is proposed to come from nonprofit entities within the downtown district. And so 5 of those nonprofits are churches, which accounts for approximately 2,300 of that. The rest are various other nonprofit entities.
Candace, what percentage did you say were nonprofits? You said there's 5 of them.
There's 15 total nonprofits, and about 10,500
Okay.
is coming, of the 80,000 is coming from nonprofits.
how is this area decided upon? I mean, how did this, where you started and where you ended, and you kind of skew off a little bit? How is that determined?
Sure, so we initially took a look at the vehicle parking district boundaries when we looked at that. So that follows this very closely, I would say. It extends beyond that a little bit as it accounts for the new riverfront development that has happened and how that's expanded it. It also accounts for I call it the old Alco site, which many of you probably also know it as that. That is not in the vehicle parking district, and neither is Hy-Vee. Jean Walter was one of the members of the steering committee initially and participating in those conversations as it relates to being included in the bid. And I think those two entities, it doesn't make a lot of sense for them to be in that vehicle parking district boundary because they own their own parking. And so to pay in to help with the public parking is, there's an argument that could be made from that vantage point. But those properties will see a benefit from a proposed downtown manager and the activities that they will pursue to try to drum up business for all downtown businesses and entities, or share events as it relates to the things that are going on and the special promotions that are happening within the district.
Spreadsheets from you, Candace. One of them here says that 68%, let's see, 68% of nonprofits being assessed are in favor of the BID. The other one I got from you says 6 out of 15 nonprofits signed petitions equaling 40%. Can you tell me where the disparities come in?
So of that, the 68% is actually nonprofit. It's 68% of the nonprofit funds come from the petition signing supporters.
Oh, it just
And
says,
so 68% of that 10,500.
it just says 68% of nonprofits having assessed are in favor. That's how mine reads. So that, to me, reads different than what you're saying. It doesn't say about funds, it says they'll be in favor. And I've talked to a couple of nonprofits who said they are not in favor. And
Sure.
so, and some of them said, well, we didn't even get the assessment, which then I find out maybe went to the landlord.
That
So
could be.
if the landlord gets it, then he pays that due, and then he can pass it back on to the nonprofit.
And that will be in effect no matter what. The only, because if the property is owned by just a private entity, they will get assessed no matter what. If they're renting to a nonprofit entity, it will be their decision whether they retain that or they pass that along. I know what I know what I sent you initially, and I saw how it was worded, and I had that corrected, and that's why I resent you that document and that spreadsheet.
Candace, my question is, so this improvement district is going to be used to improve to give more exposure to our downtown, to our businesses downtown, whether that be through festivals, events, or whatever. And so I'm just going to pull something out of my hat real quick and ask you a question. Let's take something like Oktoberfest, where there's a lot of public drinking. How does a church see any kind of improvement from that? I'm specifically talking about 5 nonprofits. Those are my specific concern, are those 5 nonprofits that are churches. I'd like to know how this helps a church at all, other than somebody walking by and going, "Oh, Sacred Heart Church. I have lived here my whole life and didn't know there was a Sacred Heart Church." Okay, or I didn't know there was Christ is King, or I don't remember what it's called now, but I don't understand how it's going to help a church.
So, and maybe some of the steering committee members might have some other ideas, but perhaps if they're having a special event of their own at that church or at that nonprofit entity, and they want to spread the word about that, the downtown manager won't be limited to marketing just certain events. they can market events as it relates to any kind of activities or nonprofits or even religious organizations that are located within the bid. I would invite, if there's any other.
Yeah, anybody from the steering committee want to add any input?
And I'll be right over here if you have more for me.
I'm Stephanie Bates. I'll introduce myself while she signs in here. Was a key participant in the steering committee since we officially signed the contract with Puma in 2022. So here to address any of those questions or concerns. What Candace said does hold true. We would not have limitations of promotions. Downtown currently has a website and a Facebook page where we include everyone in the downtown boundaries, all of their events, vacation Bible schools, you name it, it's on there. So that would be one part.
Yes, and Connie Gary, thank you. Mayor and council, mayor's not here, councilman, thank you.
Whatever fits.
You look good there. So, yeah, there's probably not as much opportunity for them. With that, some of this, we looked at, if that property could be used beyond a church at some point. And I agree, many of them, Sacred Heart is a church is a church is a church. It just, it can't, and I guess personally, I was probably for not including the churches because of that, because I don't feel that, people do donate, but, they're not for profit. They do some fundraisers, but they're not for profit. There are other nonprofits that actually charge, and their property is probably very sellable and that sort of thing. So for me, I saw a difference there. So I do agree with you on that point. I could see as well, if there were some activities that a church may not like that, happened that were part of it. I hope we don't ever do anything that's the community's unhappy with or gives a bad image to anyone. That would be something that we hope we have a good manager and good boards and they look out for the image that we're projecting. But with that being said, their limitations on what churches accept are probably different than the general public.
Or a regular nonprofit, it's hard to compare like Orphan Grain Train necessarily with Sacred Heart Church because their mission, what they're trying to do is a little bit different.
Yeah. So I do agree with you that there's a differentiation, I think, between churches and the other nonprofits. I do see that.
Yeah, even to follow up on Councilman Jensen's comments and with what you just recently said there, I think it is tough to, I guess if you will, kind of impose a tax on a religious organization. You are looking at about $2,300 in funds there.
Right.
Probably not going to make or break your BID. Is that something you would consider amending, maybe removing the religious organizations from the nonprofit?
I believe so, in the discussion that we've had with some of the board people, yes.
That might ease some of your concerns.
Yes.
I would have to go along with those statements also, because that's probably who I've heard the most from, are and it's noted as 5 religious, but there's only 4 of them that pay anything. One's a parking lot.
Correct.
And so
Yeah.
one of the comments that I received was, it seems like it was rather auspiciously, the proper, or the boundary line was somewhat auspiciously arrived at going down that alley, where very, very few other alleys does it go down. It's actually got to get all the way over to the west, and I suspect that some of the primary reasoning in that was that there was a rather large entity that's south of the alley between 5th and Sixth Street that would probably have objected quite strongly to paying 4 cents per square foot.
And I think part of the reason it did jut there is we did have a business down in that area that wanted to be included and expressed that. So yes, it got kind of hairy there because of how the parcel boundaries did set a little bit to the west of that area.
Yeah, I don't know if you're looking at the orphan grain train there.
No,
They supported.
Norfolk Public Schools.
The what?
The Norfolk Public Schools.
Yes, and they would not benefit from
Yeah, they would
the
not.
activities of the
and I guess
BID.
that's-
Yes,
As was echoed earlier, I feel the religious organizations do not benefit. Matter of fact,
Correct.
you know,
yep.
they probably tolerate some things that go somewhat against, you know,
Yep, yep. And one of the reasons why we can't sit there and like carve out special places, back in the day, that's how the vehicle parking district boundary was, and then places changed hands and now they're utilizing public parking. So I think excluding religious entities by property owner is a good compromise to, you know, if they sold part of their parking lot in the future and someone improved upon it, or, you know, something like that, is part of the reason why it's by the boundary. But yes, exclusions could definitely be made.
So how will the health centers, I know we had Tina up here talking last time, how will they benefit from this?
Well, with that, there's a question there that we looked at with that, and that was how some of them don't seem to be included in the downtown, and they're never gonna be included in the downtown unless we take the steps to make that happen. You know, they're kind of outliers and kind of ignored, although, and you know, I think Scott has made an effort at Christmas time to make sure that they get included on the maps that he does for the downtown, and, you know, invites them to put their promotions in the, you know, in our promotional pieces.
Yep,
Okay.
and they participate with a watch giveaway at Hometown Holidays Festival that they partner with Visit Norfolk to do, and with their sculpture walks. So, yes, trying to include them in unconventional ways like that,
Yeah, right.
as well.
Right, but we would like to get more unity and everybody kind of pulling together, and not just that this person we hired is just doing everything for the people that have business, you know, somebody walking in their front door for, you know, retail or restaurant or something like that. When you do that, you're just not getting a growing downtown and a unity. I think everything needs to be looked at, everything needs to be lifted, and everybody needs to be working together. It's gonna make a healthier, better downtown. So that was one reason that we included them. We don't want them, more than included, we didn't want them excluded. We don't want them to continue to be excluded.
Shouldn't that be their choice?
No, because of the carve-outs, and we did get support from so many.
And I've got a copy of the petition that you sent out, and I've heard from some that are for, I mean, regular businesses.
Right.
They didn't send them back because there's no place for them to say, no, we don't want in.
Right.
Now, why can't you do something like a membership? Let the people who want in join, tax them, because the city council here, we're working on a budget, and we're trying to say no more taxes. And here you guys come, and here you're gonna tax. So we are doing our part, now you are gonna start assessing taxes to these people. And some of them cannot afford it. They cannot afford it, and it's not gonna benefit them.
So I will address that boundary, just to be clear for the Midtown Health, since we're specifically talking about that. What's in the boundary for them is the old Courtesy Ford lot. And back when we started visiting this in 2022, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe that that was owned by them at that time, or if it was in the works. So this has been a very long time coming, but if they decide not to improve upon that lot for whatever reason, we don't want that carve out there for someone to come in and put a nice development that does definitely benefit. There's benefits for everyone to be downtown. We have insurance industries that they see benefit. They can recruit their agents to come downtown because we have great places to have lunch, to have a picnic, to go have a coffee, to have business meetings. So There's benefit for,
People have told us
But
that
But
they,
why,
that they
why wasn't there a
benefit
no on
recruiting
here?
people.
Because you didn't give, this is more of a dictatorship, not a democracy. You guys are the ones imposing all this. There was no place to say no. And I know people that wanted to say no, and they didn't send them back because they were saying no.
and the intention with that was to get that communication. There was contact information. My contact information was on all of those sheets, and I wish those people would have contacted me so we could have those. But as it sits, we do have almost 55% of approval from our property owners downtown. And state statute for BID establishment requires 30%.
So as I listened to last meeting, and I've listened to this one, and I appreciate Tina coming up and speaking, and I knew we moved this along so we could have a greater conversation.
Right.
And I think there might be something where there could be a win-win situation, and I understand the boundary lines and not carving out certain nonprofits, but is there a way that the BID, if this passes for the full-time person, is there some type of like a big give that's raised through other profiting businesses to help offset or maybe completely offset the cost for the nonprofits such as Midtown is, so it's not a financial burden like what that's being imposed on. It's paying forward, but it's getting paid back in some type of big give.
And actually, the Mimosa Fest in the downtown a couple of years did do that. They gave to one of the nonprofits. They raised money and gave it to the nonprofits in the downtown. So the people in the downtown are looking at them as part of us, and we want it officially to be that. And I will go back, excuse me, back to the carve-outs. We had that come up with the BPD several years ago, that people that were saying, the parking district isn't really doing anything for me, we want to carve us out, and once you start that, then I think we didn't want that for this. We want to have complete boundaries and not do the carve-outs. And we didn't with that either. We had people ask, though.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, yes, fundraisers, Mimosa Fest is held by a private group in partnership with downtown businesses because they try to promote. But like Connie said, they chose that year to donate to Midtown Health. Downtown did a first ever, well, I shouldn't say first ever because back in the day before the riverfront was developed, there was duck races down there. The Downtown Norfolk Association organized a duck race, and we opted to give our funding to actually Parks and Rec to enhance our Christmas decorations. So there's always opportunities for that, and I would think having a nonprofit have a voice in those activities would be definitely something we could visit about, whether it be a board position or something like that. We want that voice, and we want everyone to be included and to work together.
That was my next question, the board. Why don't you have a nonprofit on the board? You said you've got Orphan Grain Train or somebody that really wants in. Why aren't they on the board?
Well, we have talked about that since it came up last week. We hadn't, it wasn't on purpose.
I think so.
Oh, it was not, Sue. It was not, I guarantee you.
I think so.
People submitted names.
Yep. We did a shout out for names.
And people submitted names.
Yep.
There were no nonprofit names submitted to us. But since that time, we've talked about.
Because they don't want in. So why would they submit a name if they don't want in?
See, we just don't want to continue to exclude people.
You are excluding people because
If we do
you
this,
don't
we
give them a
will be.
voice. You're taxing them and you're not giving them a voice. How is that not exclusion?
68% of that money came from people that said we want to be in.
But the ones that don't, cut them out.
I don't think that works.
Why do you get to say, Connie, or the board, why do you guys get to say who has to be in this? Why do you guys get to say that?
Because we're doing the plan, the organization plan. So this is the plan we come up that we thought was workable.
I don't agree with it. Not at all.
So people are commenting, people are getting in touch with you, so they're not being unheard, right?
And I'm voicing their opinion. They don't want
Thank
in.
you.
You're
Glad to-
taxing them, you're a dictatorship, not a democracy. So there you go, you got my word.
Thank you, Sue.
You're welcome.
No, I mean that. I mean it.
Sure, Connie.
Sure.
Just like last time after the meeting, you stopped me and you said, you know, those nonprofits, they don't have to be here. We could give those buildings to somebody else if they move out.
I
That's what you
didn't.
told me.
You took
is
that wrong.
exactly what
No.
you told me.
That is what Tina shared last time.
That's
When
what
she
you told
shared
me
that,
when I
and I
left.
told her that I want to explain what that was. That was said that when they're there, they're taking up that space. And they're there, that puts more of a burden on the small business. I didn't say it the other way. It just was a say that when that happens, you put the burden on that small mom and pop, and that is exactly what I told
That's
you.
not exactly what you
That
said.
is what I told you, Sue.
Does anyone else have any other questions that we can help and satisfied?
Yeah, are there other questions?
I think it's been some pretty good discussion on this, and that's why there's 3 readings on this, right? First reading, second reading. So I think some things got aired out after that first reading, some things got brought to the attention of the council, and I think you've answered some of those, and maybe not answered all of them. But I do appreciate you giving us that time.
Right.
I don't know if there's any.
And I did want to make it clear that when we realize that, we are going to add a nonprofit to the BID board. We do totally, we're not just doing this for the money. We want them to be a part. They're in the downtown. We don't want those holes. We want them to be a part of who we are, where we're going, what the future is. And we do want to hear from them. We do.
And we are willing to exclude the religious organizations because you guys do bring up really good points about that. And that's, kind of that outsider's perspective. But if you remove them, we do, as stated before, 10,500, including religious organizations. 68% of that funds have been approved by these nonprofits. So, and I think in the spreadsheet that's were sent out, you were able to see those nonprofits and on there. So.
Anything else?
Any other questions?
I do. If we exclude the nonprofits, we exclude churches, is this a feasible position at that moment?
I think given what the cost of living and trying to hire a reliable full-time position, excluding all of the nonprofits would put us in kind of a rotating,
Sure.
it's already a tight budget the way
Yep,
it is.
it is.
So,
But
yes,
I
I
agree
do.
that
But thank you.
the churches is
Yeah.
just a small amount. That would
And-
not,
Yeah, we can make that work by whatever, cutting corners on office furniture or whatever, like those minute things. $2,500 isn't gonna make or break it, and we'd rather have those good relationships.
All right, thank you.
thank
Thank you.
you. Oops, those are your pens.
Yeah, come on up, Kathy.
I'm Kathy Nordby with Midtown Health Center, and I wasn't able to be at the last meeting. And honestly, I was surprised by the reaction that I created, that I had been contacted over time about the issue, and I had been vocal about really having meaningful input and being a part of the decision-making. So we can go back through history and when I bought Courtesy Ford and when all of that happened. But my mission is to serve our population, and if I make a profit, I'm supposed to reinvest it in serving my population. And so I'm very frugal with those dollars, and I try to protect healthcare and the services that I provide. So I am not intending to be antagonistic. I think the BID is a wonderful thing, and being included as a partner is meaningful to me, and I can stand down if I see, I agree, the churches are one area where it's like, I don't get it, and the south side of Madison, which was from most of First Street, Second Street to 8th Street was all nonprofits. That was a surprise to me why that would be a decision to be included. I was a nonprofit and I purchased that, I believe in 2022. I can get accurate information about when that was purchased. But I think the growth of downtown only helps us. That's who we market when I bring a doctor into town. That's the part of town I show, and probably they'll buy one of those $400,000 houses we talked about earlier. So there you go. I hire doctors and dentists and And I have a big payroll, and so I want them to be contributors, but I also want to be respected for the economic development that we bring to downtown. 75 people every day. I have over 100 employees now. I do 20,000, over about 22,000 encounters right down there in that building. I need to expand space, and that's what that space is for, along with the parking I need to service those people. And so, I think we've had a big impact, and nonprofits look very different, just as businesses look very different. But a place at the table would be what I would be seeking, and I can stand down on some of the other concerns if there's meaningful contributions. And we can get into tit for tat about the Mimosa Fest and some of those, but it's ongoing, meaningful partnership. Nonprofits can be businesses too, and I take pride in what we've done. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Steve McNally, downtown property owner. So I came to town with my wife in 1989 and started working at my father's business. And within the first year, we replaced 2 plate glass windows that were broken for vagrancy. We had big issues with that. We also own several properties downtown. We looked to buy a new property in the early 90s. We're told by our banker that they were not making any loans for businesses in downtown Norfolk. That's how bad it was. There was over a 40% vacancy rate for the downtown businesses. And I guess on the property tax side, it was probably good because our buildings were valued so low that we didn't pay much property tax. I joined the VPD in early 90s, and I started working with Connie Geary and several other dedicated property owners. And I can tell you that she's gold. She works hard, and she wants what's best for our whole community. She believes that downtown is the heart of our community, as do I. Most of the hard work that has been done since 1989 has been by the VPD and the many volunteers. And I will tell you that we've reached a point where it can't be done anymore with volunteer work. Property owners' valuations are up. If I were to sell any of my business buildings, they'd sell easily. It's highly sought after. It's desirable. People comment all the time how beautiful downtown is. Well, it took a lot of hard work to get there, but we also need to we need to be diligent and know that that hard work, you have to continue it. It just doesn't stay that way. You get a couple vacancies and businesses go out, and now you're going downhill again. The business owners and the property owners, this is what this initiative was. It was driven by the property owners. When we first met with the city and with Candace and saying, this is our idea, we'd like your help. It was not vice versa. They didn't come to us. We came to them. You know, being on the VPD, so much of what we did, you know, the community meetings, the involvement, it's all part of it. I will tell you that when we did the paving district with the lights and everything downtown, we had the meetings. There were some very vocal people against it. But it's funny, the majority of those vocal people against it are like, oh man, I'm really sorry that I was fought that so hard. I just didn't see what it could be. I just thought it was money being spent on sidewalks. So being through these battles, I understand. I understand that not everybody's going to see the vision, and not everybody's going to understand it. All right? We are a democracy. In order to create that by state statute, a business improvement district, we have to have 30%. So we knew we don't want 30%. We wouldn't even approach this to the city council if we had 34%, right? But BID's been created in our state with that level because that's what the gate is. We're at 57% overall of the property owners sent the signed deal back, all right? Many of them didn't sign it back. Some might not have sent it back because they were against it. Others who I've talked to personally said, you know, I'm not going to sign it and say I'm in favor of it, but I'm also not going to go to the council and say I'm against it either. It is what it is. So it does go both ways. Are you ever going to get 100%? No. You never. You know, the churches, we had a big discussion, and this has been going on for 2 years, right? This is not something we cobbled together quickly. We had meeting after meeting, and we met with as many people as we possibly could. Got input. Yes, that was always something we talked about, much to what Connie was saying with the VPD, with the boundaries. We did carve-outs, and then the people that didn't want it moved on, and then the new people's like, why'd you disclude me? I want to be part of this. So we're like, gosh, if we carve all this, do all these carve-outs, you know, it's a slippery slope, right? Who's going to be here in 20 years, and are they going to want to be part of the BID? I can tell you as a property owner, I don't now, but I've rented to nonprofits, and as a property owner, if I got, which I will get this BID assessment, it will not cause my rent to go up to any of my tenants. I'm not going to pass this BID assessment off. It's not a tax, it is an assessment. I've heard people say, well, geez, once we create something, city government, how do we get rid of it? All right, the BID is very flexible. We have a hard review coming in 2 years and another hard review in 5 years. But I can tell you this, the city council can get rid of the BID in 1 year by not including the assessment in the budget. I mean, that's an easy way to get rid of a BID, is if we don't do our job. And we will do our job. We will do our job just like we did the VPD, like we did our job. We understand that money is always tight. I mean, all business owners, all property owners, I mean, it's always going to be that way. I mean, I wish that we would reach a point where we're swimming in it, but you know what? We're rural America. We are competing against bigger cities, online. We have to do everything that we can to keep that ball advancing, so that downtown is not a point where nobody wants to be anymore. I'm asking the city council to trust us. I'm a lifelong citizen. I plan on being here too. And nobody, you know, like the way the structure is set up with the BID board as the overseeing board and the DNA board as being the manager, the oversight of the manager, and then the BID being the oversight. I'm fully confident that this is gonna work, and if it doesn't work, I will be the first one to say it just doesn't work, right? Let's disband it. We have to show results, all right? We have to advance that ball. Like I say, that's, if anybody has any questions of me.
Steve, can you guarantee me 100%, that everybody in this area is going to benefit from being assessed?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
And here's the main reason why. I'm a downtown resident, all right? This is a vital cog to continue. You talk about housing, affordable housing. Hey, affordable housing, almost all the buildings in downtown Norfolk have unoccupied space above them. The Walt Disney model, retail over residential. it's essential to keep that going and bring the residents in. The more population density you have in an area, it floats the entire boat. It has residences go, oh, I'm gonna walk to that church, right? Or I'm gonna walk there over to this business. It's the population density. And that's what I fully believe, and I've seen it. There's more and more people are living downtown, and I always have people like, do you have any more spaces? Not yet, I'm fully booked, and I'm fully rented, but I want to build more, right? I really do. I have some open spaces up above, and my intention is to do that. And I think that as people see the momentum and the progress of downtown Norfolk, you're gonna see that. You're gonna see people wanting to live, you know, back in the day when we did our first marketing is shop, eat, live, and play. And that's what it is, all right? When you can come down to downtown Norfolk and conduct everything that you do down here without getting in a car. You can go to church. You can go to healthcare. You can go to the community food bank. You can volunteer down there. That is our goal, is to have us all be part of that group and have us all be cohesive and as a group. And that's why, that's ultimately, and Connie, trust me, I sat through these meetings. That's really what her thoughts were. Like, we don't want to exclude people. We do want them to be part of this. It's a downtown community, a business improvement district, but really, the BID will kind of be the leader of that downtown community. And that's what we want. We want a community feel.
Thank you.
I got one more question.
Yeah.
So the homes that are actually owned and occupied by the owner are not being assessed, but the homes that are owned and rented out, how are they benefiting?
Population density, people wanting to live down here, because there's restaurants and they can walk to church, and hey man, if I could buy houses in this district, I would do it in a heartbeat. Those people are their property is gonna be worth, that's the other thing. They're gonna benefit because if they ever do sell their property, it'll be worth more money. And I will tell you this, like I say, back in the day, we used to buy downtown buildings for $20,000. They're not going for that now. Same thing with houses in this area. I guarantee you they're worth more money being in this district, and they will be if we do our job. All right? That's the key. If we do our job, all right? If we just take this money and we bring somebody on board, and we're not seeing any changes, we're not seeing any advancement of that ball, I'll be the first one to say in that review, like, let's get rid of it. It's not working. And we will. So.
Appreciate your input, Steve.
Thank you.
Jim McKenzie, and forgive me if this has already been discussed, but I see our fire station and the college's new facility in those boundaries. Are they subject to this tax or assessment? And then if they are, is that a legal assessment on a Nebraska subdivision?
Political subdivisions are excluded.
They're excluded?
They're excluded.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Scott Buss, just for clarity, this job that we're talking about here is basically the one I've been doing on a part-time basis for the last 3+ years. So probably a little more working knowledge of some of the stuff going on there than most. And I should also point out that I don't intend to apply for this job. So I'm not up here lobbying for a job that, you know, like, hey, give me that. So that's not the point here. The point is, you know, there's so much momentum downtown. There's so much going on, we can't take a step back at this point. To speak to the nonprofits thing, I get it. Like, I do. Okay, you're a nonprofit. I'm a part of several nonprofits myself. You're always wondering, where's the money coming from? I get it. I fully appreciate that. I also know that we want the opportunity to talk about our cause and our mission at any chance we get, because that is where our money comes from. That's where our members come from. That's what we want. That's what we're seeking, which is what this does. And I will apologize right away, Kathy, if they felt not included in downtown, then that's on me, because this is a job that I've been doing. So I will apologize profusely if that's the case. But that's why we're here. It's too much, I've been doing this part-time. I can't get to everybody. That's the thing. I want to talk to everybody. I just can't do it. That's why we've got here, to try to get a full-time person. Like, this is the goal, is to make sure that everybody is heard. I have had nonprofits call me up in the past and be like, we have this event going on. Can you post about it? Can you talk about it? Absolutely. Love to. We have them showing up to events we've got going on downtown, hometown holidays, that kind of thing. Absolutely. But we need to make sure that we are, that they feel included, that everybody feels included, whether you're a nonprofit, a business, or whatever. The full-time person will have that opportunity to do far more than just volunteers or a part-time person can do. So I'll just leave it with that. If anybody's got questions, I'll be glad to answer them. But no, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
I have a question. I want to know, how long will it take us to get in writing that nonprofits will have a guaranteed seat on the board, and that religious nonprofits will not be taxed? Because I'll just tell, I'm not going to vote for it until I see that in writing.
Well, I think we can actually make an amendment.
Okay, that's what if we can just make an amendment, that's good enough for me.
Nonprofit, or correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep, so kind of a two-part question there, so I'll kind of address the first one. So if you want to make an motion to basically amend the ordinance to remove the religious organizations from this ordinance, that's going to be an amendment. If this ordinance is amended on second reading, it can only pass on second reading tonight. Per city code, it has to go back to the city attorney's office and then come back for a final third reading. That kind of addresses the religious part. For the board of directors, that's its own separate agenda item that is currently tabled, which that really cannot be discussed because there is no board of directors without a bid. So really, the bid has to pass for there to be a board of directors. So it is tabled. So once the bid passes, we can address that board of directors. But until the bid passes, there is no board of directors. But if the bid passes, let's just say at the next city council meeting, you could bring forth a new resolution, because currently the resolution, as I understand, does not have a nonprofit member on it. At this next city council meeting, if the ordinance passes on second reading, we could bring forward a new resolution with a nonprofit on it. Vote this original resolution down if the bid passes on third reading, and vote the one with the nonprofit forward. I know it's kind of convoluted, but.
That's exactly what I need to know. Thank you.
Yep.
So basically, at this point, I think I'm looking for an amendment with that exclusion. But we'll leave the board of directors for the next meeting.
I would move to amend that we exclude all religious nonprofits from this.
Second.
All right. You said just religious? Yes.
Yes, just religious.
Okay.
Yep. There's a motion and a second.
There was a second? Okay, any further discussion? All right, please vote.
Voting in the affirmative, Arns, Granquist, Jensen, Lengy, Hildebrand, Beckman, abstaining, Webb, McCarthy, motion carries.
With that, we'll keep item 31 tabled.
So now we'll go back and vote on ordinance number 5935. on second reading as amended.
I will look for consideration of ordinance number 5935 to create a business improvement district, set its boundaries, establish a special assessment for businesses in the district, set the rates, explain how the funds will be collected and used, outline penalties for violations, and set the effective date of the ordinance. This ordinance passed on first reading at the August 18th, 2025 City Council meeting.
I'll make a motion for consideration of ordinance number 5935 as amended.
Second that.
Any discussion? If none, please vote.
Voting in the affirmative, Arns, Granquist, Jensen, Langy, Hildebrand, abstaining, McCarthy, Webb. Voting in opposition, Beckman. Ordinance number 5935 carries on second reading as amended only.
Item 31, we'll just skip that.
Yep, so item number 31 and 32 will stay tabled.
Stable. Okay, item number 33. Consideration of ordinance 5938, creating sanitary sewer connection district number 258, which generally provides for the connection of a sanitary sewer main for 7 lots in Eldorado Estates, second edition.
I'll make a motion for consideration of ordinance number 5938.
Second.
Okay. And Steve, would you be able to help us here?
Mayor and council, yes, what you have before you is an ordinance creating sanitary sewer connection district, number 258. This would be, if you're familiar with the Eldorado Hills, or not, let's see here, Rolling Hills. It's Eldorado Estates second edition, but it's the Rolling Hills, Portia Place area. This would essentially be the eastern half of that subdivision. There are 7 properties over there. We were contacted that they are all on septic systems and water wells. Several of those systems are starting to age. We were contacted by one resident that has been pumping on about every 4th to 5th month, and they requested connection to city sewer, and they are far enough away from city sewer that they wouldn't have to be connected, but they also have water quality issues. And so they saw this as a method to help improve water quality as well, which it certainly will. Based on that contact, we started reaching out to the residents in that area. All but one of them were in favor of the district. And so what you see in front of you then would create a district that would be a connection district for 7 lots in that eastern portion of Rolling Hills area.
Have any discussion? Any public input? Seeing none, show title.
An ordinance creating sanitary sewer connection district number 258 in the city of Norfolk, Nebraska, establishing the outer boundaries of the district, designating the size, location, and terminal points, referring to the plans, specifications, and engineer's estimate in connection therewith, and to provide when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and to provide for publication of this ordinance.
Please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance number 5938 carries on first reading.
I'd move that we suspend the rules and pass ordinance 5938 on second and third reading, as there is no objection to this and it seems to be a necessity.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? If not, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance number 5938 carries on second and third.
I will ask for a motion to consider the approval to advertise for bids for the sanitary and sewer connection district number 258, the Rolling Hills project.
So move.
Second.
Okay. Steve, want to add to that?
Mayor and council, anticipating that this would be approved, city staff has been working on the engineering, the plans and specifications for construction of the improvements for the sanitary sewer connection district number 258. We would be ready to advertise that for tentative bid letting on September 15th with approval.
Any discussion on that? Public input? Please vote.
All council members voting. Oh, excuse me. All council members voting in the affirmative, motion carries.
Now on to item 35, I'll look for a motion to consider the approval to award a contract to Old Castle Materials Midwest Company doing business as Omni Engineering of Omaha, Nebraska for the asphaltic overlays 2025 project for an amount of $1,699,916.98.
I'll make a motion for consideration of approval.
Second.
Okay. And again, Steve, can you explain this one?
Mayor and council. Get my quote on here. Mayor and council, recently we advertised for asphaltic overlays on several segments of streets within the city. We opened bids and received 4 bids on August 27th. The other bidders included Constructors, Inc. of Lincoln for $1,795,556.05. Knife River of Sioux City for an amount of $1,817,662.72. And a 4th bidder, Western Engineering Company of Harlan, Iowa for $2,352,286.20. Engineer's estimate on the project was $2,190,300. And Omni Engineering out of Omaha was low bidder at $1,699,916.98. So very, very competitive bids, a very good bid for us. The construction is not anticipated to start until probably May of 2026, so we wouldn't see any of this work going on this year, but I believe their schedule was they would have this work started and completed in about a 3-week period. So excited to have that work under contract. I answer any questions. If
About how many miles of street?
Ooh.
Sorry.
I don't have an answer for that off the top of my head. That would be an answer I could.
I hope we can measure it in miles, right?
We can. I could tell you how many tons or, square yards, that type of stuff, but I couldn't tell you lane miles off the top of my head. It's a fairly.
But it's a significant
It's fairly
overlay.
significant. It's probably worth just kind of reading some of the segments here. These Tahazuka Drive to Monroe, or South 15th Street from Tahazuka to Monroe. The industrial, that's a kind of an industrial area for the community, south of Monroe, down around Wizpack, that area. Another one, Omaha Avenue, 37th Street to 25th Street. We have some substantial ASR activity in that area, so this is about carving off that ASR, kind of keeping the good. That'll provide a very nice concrete base for what we call perpetual pavement going forward. Norfolk Avenue, from the bypass to 14th Street, so that'll bring the rest of Norfolk Avenue that's within city limits up to speed. New overlay, 37th Street, Benjamin Avenue to city limits. Victory Road, following all the construction activity down there on Victory Road with the apartment complexes and some of the more recent construction south of that area. we need to get in there and rejuvenate that. As part of that, we'll also be kind of daylighting that and doing some paved shoulders to provide a little safer area for folks that are walking down in that area. They'll have paved shoulders. Right now, you've got a 24-foot asphalt top and kind of dirt or grass shoulders. So that'll be a significant improvement in that area.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else have any questions or discussion? Any public input?
How many people bid this project, Steve?
Pardon?
How many people bid this project?
4 bidders.
4 bidders.
In the past, we've been fortunate enough we had 2 on these asphalts, but just tells you that Omni is a pretty big operation. I believe they come out, they're not all the way down into Kearney, but they're more in that kind of central I-80 corridor area. Knife River happens to be here doing work on the DOT project, so we pretty hopeful they would bid. We thought their pencil might be sharper. A couple others that tend to do a lot of work here locally, Western, they do a lot of county work. We've done work with them in the past. This will be our first work with Omni, but we're not concerned about that. Like I say, they're a very large contractor, very experienced in state work, county work, municipal work. So.
Okay, there's no more discussion. Please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, motion carries.
Item number 36, I'll look for a motion to consider the approval to award the chip seal alternate contract to Midwest Coatings Company, Inc. of Modale, Iowa for the chip seal armor coat 2025 project for an amount of $420,006.37.
I'll make a motion for consideration of approval.
Second.
It's all yours.
Council Council President, this is our chip seal project. We don't do a lot of these. We need to do more of them. Again, about keeping the good, sealing our asphalt. We should be doing these every 5 to 6 years to keep a good seal on our asphalt streets. We bid this one as a chip seal with an armor coat with a chip seal alternate. The difference there is the armor coat is more of a natural aggregate surface, and the chip seal is a crushed red rock or crushed quartzite surface. The crushed quartzite provides more skid resistance. It's just a tougher, harder surface as well. The natural aggregates tend to wear off a little bit faster. Certainly they wear off faster with snow plows. Where the red aggregates, again, it's just going to be a harder surface that lasts longer. What these chip seal projects do is after some time, the upper portion of an asphalt layer will start some degradation due to UVs, chemicals on them. And so about every 5 to 6 years, you come across with a chip seal and it reseals that surface. And you'll get 20, 25 years out of that surface. There are many segments included in this. Based on the prices coming in, we are recommending the award of the chip seal option. It was about, I don't remember exactly, it was about $12,000 more than the armor coat option. But based on where the bids came in, we would like to go with the chip seal alternate. Again, we received 2 bids, and we received a bid from Midwest Coatings out of Modale, Iowa, and another quote from the Road Guys. Midwest Coatings happens to be the company, they put a plant in down on the south end of town, kind of east of our transfer station here about 1.5 years ago. So they're local, their main office is Modale, Iowa. I got to figure out here how to read this. The Midwest Coatings armor coat quote was $411,882.81. The Road Guys quote for armor coat was $767,173. For the chip seal, Midwest Coatings was $420,006.37. And the road guy was $745,135. So the chip seal, about $8,200 more than the armor coat. So based on that, we are recommending, again, award of the chip seal to Midwest Coatings for $420,006.37. The last thing I would just kind of say on that is here about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, we did a chip seal. Actually, it was an armor coat on Gulfview. These projects, this is where we squirt the surface with oil, and then we drop rocks on it. We allow the traffic to roll those rocks in for a couple days, and then we go back in and sweep those rocks up. This particular job, we put into the specifications, this is more of a fog seal. So after they sweep the chips up, they'll come back over with a light surface oil to just bind all that together, and it'll be black essentially when they're done. So it's going to just it'll look a little bit more like a traditional asphalt street when they're done versus having all that potentially loose aggregate. Even after they sweep, there tends to be some loose aggregate left there. And that can wash into our storm sewer systems, and it can cause other problems. But these things are very, very common. Again, most, I don't remember the exact term, but I would say probably around the United States where you tend to have more aggregate sources available. Upwards of about 85% of your municipal streets tend to be asphalt. So this chip seal armor coat type activity is very, very common across the United States.
So is this fogging technique that you talk about, is that new to the industry, or is that just new to what Norfolk's opted for?
Been out there for many years. It does increase the cost a little bit because you're putting it's another operation. You got to go back and squirt the oil down. Like I say, it does, if you do have some loose aggregate, it does provide an opportunity to bind that. It gives you more of a black surface when you're done. That black contrast, some of these segments are probably striped, most of them aren't, but that black surface does give you a better contrast with your traffic, with your pavement marking after the fact. It does take chip seals. You can put traffic on that chip seal immediately with the fog seal after they sweep up the aggregate and then hit it with that fog seal. There will be a period of time, might be an hour, hour and a half before we allow traffic back on that because we need that oil to set or cure. Otherwise it'll track. But we're pretty excited about it. Like I say, ultimately we should see more of this on that 5-year, 6-year cycle as we go forward to just kind of keep the good streets good as long as we can.
Steve, I got one question, even though we're probably all ready to get out of here. But I guess it's a two-part question. One is, what was the engineer's estimate? And two is, why is there approximately a $300,000 difference between these two guys? What's missing or possibly not missing?
Engineer's estimate on it was $686,420. I would say the biggest thing is you've got a local guy here that's going to be doing the work. They're both essentially local. Yankton's not that far away. We knew they had a lot of interest. The technology on this
It just seems enormous, right?
The technology, yeah, it does.
I mean, that's almost twice as much as one other guy. Let's put it that way. It's 80% more than another guy.
I mean, all I can say is they really wanted it.
Boy, I guess. You're 200,000 under our engineering estimate.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about it. Like I say, it's low tech. You drop the oil, you drop the aggregate, you run it, you sweep it up. Do I think he can do it for that cost? Yeah, and I'm sure he's got plenty of profit in that as well.
All right. Any more discussion on that? No, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, motion carries.